Hey buddy, just a little update for those who do not know what's going on. I've not been uploaded um for quite some time, probably like a few weeks from now. And reason because the two battle leagues are in are currently not continuing, or at least not have got anything done. So in other words, I am canceling both the PBL, the Pokemon Battle League, and the NPL, the Nameless Pokemon Leagues, draft, team builders, and weekly battles. They will no longer be uploaded, but this is why I'm adding it to a different video, just because it's going to be short and quick. No longer doing those two leagues anymore. They cut off quick, and hopefully this league that I will tie this update into will carry out through the whole season. Anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed whatever videos about to come up, and we'll see y'all then. What's going on, everyone? IBG here, Well, I'm no longer a coach of anything, but I am myself battling in the CPA, the Competition Pokemon Association, the CPA, and this is a new draft league that I participate in. Hopefully, I will be able to finish this league, unlike the other ones I've done. But, anyways, I have gotten a team. This league is in Smogon Tiers format, so I am drafting Pokemon in the OU tier, 3 Pokemon in the OU tier, 3 Pokemon in the UU tier, 3 Pokemon in the RU tier, and 3 Pokemon in NU and below. And about a few days ago, from when I'm recording this, I believe like 3 or 4, we actually did the drafting, and we surprisingly got it done within a few hours. And my team, I was not expecting the draft at all, but I do absolutely love the Pokemon I end up getting put with, because it builds so much of how much. Well, anyways, I still get the Pokemon that I wanted to base off of. It's just I didn't get the Pokemon that I wanted to build it with. But in the end, it still seems good. Could possibly be better, but that'll be for like future trades or free agencies if I decide to do it. But anyways, enough jibber jabber. Let's just get started with the draft. My theme for these team names are based off of Bruno Mars songs, and I won't sing every song, but I might hum it a little just to get the groove of it, because I love a lot. Bruno Mars is basically like one of my favorite music artists, and I decided just to do his some of his songs after him. First off, we have the main Pokemon I decided to draft was Kieran Black. Now, I was placed 4th in the draft, in this snake style draft. So, while I get the 4th pick, it took like 20 plus picks till I got the first Pokemon. So, I wanted the first pick to be a very big pick. And why not go with a big Kieran Black as our first pick? The Z move I'll explain later, or Z crystal I'll explain later, and why it's the Z crystal, but enough of that. Kieran Black, really, I wanted to use Kieran Black because, one, I've never used Kieran Black in a league before. Now, some of y'all may think, how could you not use Kieran Black in a league? This thing is so broken. Having 170 attack, 128 special attack, 95 speed, which, if it were like a little bit more, it could be overpowered. But, yeah, I have not been able to use Kieran Black in any league. So far, this is the first time ever getting to use it league-wise. I have used it in battle at least once or twice. Don't know how many times, but Kieran Black is a very good Pokemon to draft, at least if you're getting the first few picks. Gets so many coverage moves and coverage options, so like a Stab Draco meter, just like Terraceous team, Stab Outrage, Stab Ice Beam, Stab, and its signature move, Free Shot. Doing so much damage if I just want to use like a what is it? Power Herb. Cannot use ICMZ because I'll explain later. But get so much coverage moves like Shell Ball, Shell Claw, the Ghost type moves you get to pair with Zen Headbutt, Stone Edge, putting Hidden Power with it, Flash Cannon, Earth Power. Moves like that just make this Pokemon so broken that I could not like pass this Pokemon up. Anyways, moving on, we have It Will Rain, the Rotom-Rush. I forgot to, I don't know if I explained this or not, but I decided to name Kieran Black Grenade since it just explodes with massive amounts of power that nothing would stop it. and there'd be barely fear anything. But I decided to name this thing It Will Rain, the Rotom Rosh. Of course, it took a while for me to get my next pick since I was so close to beginning. So I decided to get a bulkier Pokemon, not so much a very, how should I say this? Not so much where it's just defensive, or bulky, but so much where it carries so much defensive power, but can be able to put on the offensive pressure when it needs to. So I had to pick up Rotom Wash. This gives me a ground immunity, electric water type, so I can be able to either get off a slow Volt Switch or a very fast one, depending on how I build this Rotom Wash. Of course, it being Rotom Wash, it only gets one water type move, being Hydro Pump. Gets certain moves that we know of, like Volt Switch, Thunderbolt moves that they get. Will-O-Wisp to be able to stop like very physical Pokemon. Toxic if I decide to like whittle down Pokemon. Trick if I decide to get rid of an item that will either benefit myself or downgrade my opponent. Pain Split if I want to get back HP if I'm at low health or split the HP. And Hex if I'm able to status with like either Will-O-Wisp, Toxic, or Thunder Wave. Basically the only three stat moves that Rotom Wash mainly carry. Then able to do double damage with Hex. If not, I just can prefer Shadow Ball just in case. And because of Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, Rotom Wash does have access to defog. So this does give me a entry hazard because Stealth Rocks would be terrible to deal with basing off of Kyurem Black because it takes a quarter of its health. And getting defog, or having a defogger this early on makes such a good draft, at least in my opinion. Now next up is personally one of my favorite, I shouldn't say favorite, but one Pokemon I was very looking forward to drafting, and that is Diggersby. Chunky the Diggersby. I actually name this thing regularly, so Chunky just really fits into Diggersby's name because it's like a big Pokemon, but it's not big defensively, it's big in power. Huge power, should I say, doubling its attack, so that base 56 attack, putting at max attack, making it reach a stat thing of 198, doubling that to 396, just tears through teams. And the speed stat's not bad. 78 is not, I would say, not too terrible. It's workable, that's what I should say. So like a Stab Earthquake or Stab Return would do so much. And even like slapping a Choice Band on this thing, this will just bring a Pokemon down to very low HP, if not knock it out completely. This thing does also get access to all the Elemental Punches, Fire Punch, Ice Punch, and Thunder Punch. Yes. Has Wild Charge if I decide to go for a bigger electric type move. Surprisingly, this thing gets Surf out of any other Pokemon. Gets Superpower as well. Stone Edge if I want to. I got Priority and Quick Attack if that decides to become useful for later time. Gets Knockoff as well. Gunk Shot for those very bulky fairy types that Kyurem Black has to deal with as well. And that's pretty much it. Really good offensive Pokemon. Hits very hard. Somewhat slow, but I do have like agility, or I can just put on a Choice Scarf and I can make this thing a heavy, fast hitter. Heavy, fast hitter. Anyways, okay, so this leads me to the UU tier, and I really did not want to pick a low, or I should say a lower tiered Mega, so I decided, okay, I might as well pick up a Pokemon that is at least something I've recently used, so at least I can get a better feel of it. My next pick decided to be Mega Aggron. I did use it in the PBL, but I decided to pick it again since I really didn't get to use it as much. So I decided to pick it again. Mega Aggron with sky high physical defense, a really good attack stat, and some good HP. This provides so much of a good coverage because I at least need something to back up Rotom if I decide to run it defensively. So I have Aggron, which is an automatic physical wall because of its so high physical defense stat. And also Aggron gets some real good coverage moves. Of course you'd see like Heavy Slam and Earthquake on this thing, but you can put on a coverage move like Fire Punch, Ice Punch, Thunder Punch if I want to. Even, or like Superpower, this also gives me a Stealth Rock that I do not think Diggersby gets Stealth Rocks. No, it does not. So this gives me on my first Stealth Rock user, if I decide to use Aggron as a hazard setter, like I said, gets so much coverage moves, real bulky Pokemon in the physical side, somewhat in the special defense side, but of course I'll be running EVs to balance it out to where I will at least be able to take physical hits and boost myself up to where I will take special attacking hits. But of course I do lose the rock typing whenever I Mega Evolve from Aggron to Mega Aggron, which provides me a real good thing. And also the thing is filter. So super effective attacks do 3/4 of what I do, of what the damage is supposed to do. So like a Fire Blast would do less than what it normally do from like a, let's just say like a Volcarona. And if I run like enough HP and enough special defense, I'll be able to take that hit and probably be able to hit back, or probably even get a Brox for later. Next up we have Natalie the Sylveon, and really I wanted a fairy type. Did not know what kind of fairy type I would wanted, but Sylveon seemed to fit the bill of what I wanted in a fairy type. I wanted something that was specially defensive bulky, could at least hit something hard, at least on the special side. Of course has a pixelated ability which changes normal type moves into fairy type moves, so like the normal hit Hyper Voice will change its fairy, Double Edge Facade changes fairy type moves. Of course gets like a couple of moves that back it up in coverage, like Shadow Ball, Psyshock. Can even go down even further, I'm pretty sure. Just Sword Power if I want to set Calm Mind. Gets Toxic, and it also provides me like a status move like Cleric, Heal Bell, Wish, and Protect. Very good bulky Pokemon if I wanted to run it. And that's Sylveon. And my final pick for UU ended up being Celebi. Really did not know how I feel about Celebi. Of course, it does have base 100 stats across the board, so I really can't go wrong with it. Of course, it gets Central Cure as ability, so I get remove status when I switch out. So in case if I get like Toxic or Burned, I will be able to remove that status whenever I switch out, or even Paralyzed too, because 100 base 100 pretty fast. Of course, Stab Psychic, Stab Grass moves, Leech Seed gives me HP recovery. Can be offensive with like Nasty Plot and have coverage moves like with Earth Power. Put on a Hidden Power if I want to, just to counter a certain Mon Shadow Ball Signal Beam. Heck, I can even run like a physical one because it's base 100 across the board, meaning I get 100 in attack. So I can put like Sword Stance, because this thing gets actually Sword Stance. I have Zen Headbutt, Seed Bomb, and I could put like Sucker Punch or U-Turn if I honestly want to. The Pixie Pokemon are basically real good Pokemon to draft because they're so versatile. Even just alone on their stats, you can just like change it up, and your opponent would never know what to prep against because they're very versatile. Next up, we're going to go into the RU tier. My thought process about the RU tier was like, okay, I've already drafted these Pokemon. What Pokemon can I fit into this team to make this team a little bit better? So I decided to go with a very fast Pokemon that will set up so that other Pokemon can either come in and just sweep the team or just finish off whatever the rest of the team is that the Pokemon I could leave off with has done. So I decided to bring in or draft Aerodactyl, straight up and down the Aerodactyl, because one, it's base 130 speed, so very few Pokemon can outspeed it, barring Scarf. 105 attack stat, really good if you honestly think about it. And heck, if I don't want to use this thing as like a setup and let the others clean up and whatever to do, I could just slap a choice band on the thing because very few things outspeed this thing. And it's add like any sort of combination of 4 moves that I want. This thing also provides taunt, so if anything comes in like a hazard setter, like let's say a Fierce One or Fortress, I'm able to taunt those things, prevent those things from setting up, and only have them to click like one certain move that could bring another Pokemon to come in and sweep the team. Also gives me another Stealth Rocker, just like Celebi and Mega Aggron. Gives me Tailwind support, so I'm able to double my speed for a certain amount of turns, 4 turns. Gives me a Pursuit Trapper if I wanted to. Give me a Phaser and Roar and Whirlwind, and of course, like I said before, real good offensive pressure based off of coverage moves and how much utility this Pokemon has. Next up, I decided to go with another bulky Pokemon and decided to go with Treasure, the Cofagrigus. I am not much of a fan of Cofagrigus because I really don't like defensive ghost type Pokemon, if I would say, because I feel like ghost types have so much offensive pressure that they need to be taken advantage of, but I end up with a defensive ghost type, so I'm just gonna make do with what I have. So Cofagrigus, of course, very defensive, 145 defense, 105 SPDF. I would say pretty good for being low tier. Of course, gets some mummy abilities, so I'm able to negate any ability if the Pokemon that I'm facing against makes contact. Of course, gets the normal ghost type moves. Every ghost type, I'm pretty sure, just gets Will-O-Wisp, Toxic, those sort of like status inflicting moves, Hex, so I'm able to double damage with that. I can set up Calm Mind if I want to, negate stat changes, so like if somebody sets up a Swords Dance or Dragon Dance or like Calm Mind, I'm able to negate that with Haze. Gives me another knockoff Pokemon that I can remove items. Really, I like knockoff because it just removes items, prevent that easy like leftovers that a bulky Pokemon I have, or probably like a Life Orb just in case, or choice item just so I'm able to negate whatever power or speed that Pokemon has. Also, Cofagrigus gives me like a Spike Setter. This does get access to Toxic Spikes. A Toxic Spike Setter. I do not think there's spikes on this thing. Okay, well, we're not going to worry about that because the next Pokemon does in fact get spikes. I decided to pick up Golisopod because, one, this is a Pokemon that has not been used so much in Draft League format. Obviously it has been because every Pokemon, at least in the main tiers, should be at least be drafted. But I decided to pick this up. This is a really slept on Pokemon. 125 attack, 140 defense. Oh, this speed stat is a little lacking. 90 SPDF, 75 HP. The real reason I feel like people do not pick up Golisopod is because of its ability, Emergency Exit. But I am going to perfect Golisopod, or at least try to, in order to where Emergency Exit is like either a good thing that it has, or it's not even needed, to where I will just destroy a team with Golisopod. Because this thing has really good physical attack. Of course, we all know that Golisopod, if we know Golisopod, has that very, very threatening move, and First Impression, its own signature move that makes it go first and deal so much damage because it's base 90 power, a stab move, and priority. That's like one of my favorite things in like Pokemon, because if it has priority, if it's a powerful move, and it's stab, then we're good. Of course, gets like Liquidation, and Leech Life, which got a buff this generation. Poison Jab as a coverage move, maybe for like bulky grass type, bulky fairy types that my other Pokemon have to deal with, like Shadow Claw. Sucker Punch, another access to priority. Swords Dance if I want to set up. Aqua Jet, another form of priority. Brick Break if I want to get rid of screens. And of course, this thing has like some bulky coverage, so it's like Spikes. Has Toxic and Taunt if I want to add that as well. And that's basically it for Golisopod. Now, ending off, I'm going to talk about the lower tier Pokemon, aka the NU and below tiers. And really, I was so excited to get this pick and also scared to get this pick because this Pokemon got a buff this generation, and I feel like it needs to be taken super advantage of. And I was so surprised that nobody decided to pick this Pokemon up. I decided to pick up Incineroar, 24 Karat Magic, the Incineroar, mainly because Intimidate is its ability that it just got released in Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, and now I can finally take advantage of it. And really, you're thinking like, okay, it's an Incineroar. It wasn't as good as it was, or it's not as, it was terrible before. What makes it so much better? Well, Intimidate gives it so much bulk on the defensive side because it negates like a third of what a physical Pokemon's attack could do. Straight off the back, I just switch in. Of course, Incineroar has so much offensive move coverage. Like, of course, we know Flare Blitz, its signature move, Darkest Lariat, now getting knockoff this generation. Earthquake, U-Turn, Thunder Punch, Drain Punch, Cross Chop, Low Kick, Leech Life, surprisingly. It's not a bug, but it could sip all your HP away. Outrage, surprisingly, it gets. Superpower. All these offensive moves that we have access to, and Incineroar is able to carry it. And I'm not gonna lie, this is pretty good Pokemon. 115 attack, 95 HP, 90 in both defenses. Even at 80 special attack stat is okay for this type of Pokemon. And it's in the lower tier, so I am very fine with drafting Incineroar just because of what it's been able to show. What I see on its display. Next up is a Pokemon I did not expect to draft because I really wanted Primeape. And of course, if you see the nickname, you'll see why. Because Passimian is a simian, and the Pokemon I wanted, which ended up being Primeape, fit more of a gorilla type nickname than what Passimian does. But I'm going to negate it because I did not pick up Primeape due to the fact that it got drafted before it was my turn, and I decided to pick up Passimian. And really, I'm fine with Passimian because 120 attack stat is something not to laugh at. Even in the lower tier, going up against Pokemon that could be higher tier than it, it's still something not to laugh at. Even base 80 speed is really good in this format. Base 100 HP is good for this type of thing. Of course, stab close combat, it gets to Earthquake, Gunk Shot coverage against Fairy type Pokemon, knockoff, being able to knock off items. Rock Slide, Seed Bomb for good coverage against bulky water type Pokemon. And U-Turn in case I want to have Switch Initiative. These two Pokemon gets U-Turn, and it's really so good to have that access in a move. And then finally, I decided to pick up. I was so mad when I got to draft Pokemon because like, oh my gosh, I get Still Valley because one, I was waiting on its last pick, and I was like the very end, because of course it's Snake Draw, so once you start at the front, you're going to get the last pick in the bottom tier. If you like start at the first, you get the last pick in the lower tier. But excuse me, I was so close to the end that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm not going to be able to get this Pokemon. And surprisingly, it made it to where I was able to get it. But the downside is I do not get all types of Silvally. So I decided to get the one typing that I did miss, and I got Silvally Poison. I decided to go with Versace on the floor because the color scheme looks like the music video. If I honestly think about it, the gold and the purple really just fit it. And of course, Silvally base 95's stats across the board, really good for being so low tiered. I'm making it seem like low tier is a bad thing, but it's not. I got some good Pokemon in this low tier, really. But Silvally is really good because one, it has a mix between offensive and defense pressure. Of course, when we think defensive, we automatically think Parting Shot because you'll have that initial switch into a Pokemon after you just lower the opponent's both sides of attacking. So it's like if it's physical, then we'll lower that physical side. With special, it'll lower the special side, which will hinder it. And if it's mixed, it hinders both sides. So Silvally is really good in that, having Parting Shot. Gets some good moves, might I say. Of course, when I get to multi-attack, it'll only be Poison. I'm only allowed to run Poison Memory on Silvally, so I'm not able to run the normal type. Or like no memory at all. But I do have the access to that, so I'm fine with it. Of course, it gets like Bolt Beam, being Ice Beam, Thunderbolt. Also gets Flamethrower as well. I can run U-Turn, but I feel like I'd be running Parting Shot a whole lot more. Also gives me another Tailwind Pokemon if I want to. I'm gonna see if there's anything that I did not notice before. Surprisingly, they let this thing run Draco Meter, but I feel like that's for Silvally Dragon. I feel like nobody really runs Draco on the other types of Silvally unless if it's only Dragon, then that just gives you a stab special type move for it to use. Also, this thing gets Defog as well, so like Rotom did, it's able to get Defog and able to remove hazards. It also gives me another hazard remover on my team. I forgot to mention. And really, I don't have a spinner, so Defog is really the only chance I have of removing hazards. And that's really it. Anyways, guys, this is my team. Actually, wait, I forgot to do one more thing. Okay, so the ground EMZ on Kyurem Black, well, turns out we had to draft a Z Crystal. And I decided that ground EMZ would fit the team best because Kyurem Black and Celebi gets access to Earth Power, so I'm able to do more damage on the ground type moves. What was I gonna say? Diggersby, Mega Aggron, Aerodactyl, Incineroar, and Passimian all get access to Earthquake, so I'm able to use Ground EMZ because of that. I was debating on using Ice EMZ because of Freeze Shock doing so much damage with the Ice EMZ, doing more damage and not having to wait a turn for that move to activate. But I was sort of lenient on having a lot of Pokemon have that move. And of course, I really couldn't really use in place of a Z Crystal in place of a Mega Stone, because I do lose that bulky Pokemon that Aggron is. And of course, if I did decide to go Ice EMZ, then only like a few lesser Pokemon would have access to that move, because only Kyurem would be really the only Pokemon that could benefit it. Of course, there could be a Ice Punch, and that's really it, because none of my other Pokemon would really like benefit it. Of course, because Mega Ag has to keep on the Mega Stone, and Silvally has to keep on the Poison memory. So really, only two Pokemon would benefit it. So I felt like Ground EMZ would best fit my team because it expands out to a lot of my team that could be able to use it than just one or two Pokemon that could be able to use it. So I just ended up with that, and that is my draft for the Competition Pokemon Association. I hope you guys enjoy, and we'll see you all next week, which I will bring to you a surprise that my opponent is someone who I am very close to compared to people who I battle in draft leagues. Anyways, guys, I hope you enjoy it, and we'll see you all week 1. Take care.